It's time for tea time.
My face so red, playing like a jet. Apple Watch on me, I rock it like it's a potato. What you expect?
Yo, what it do? You are rocking with the Tea Time Podcast, where you talk topics with tea. And I am your host, Royal T. And as always, we are in the place to be. No, I ain't gonna kick y'all with that one. It's Sunday though. You know what I mean? And you know how we rocking on Sunday. Sunday becomes a fun day, a self-care Sunday where we sit down and we kind of go through like a wellness check with each other, and we catch up on some topics that we might have going on. And once you have conquered like a full week of goals and challenges and things that you want to get done, you feel like you're winning. And that's the feeling that you want to have, is winning. And we got a winning team going over here. So it's only right on Sundays that I have my homegirl in here with me rocking. And you already know who it is. I'm going to let you do your thing.
It feels good. Yeah. It feels good. Yeah. It feels good.
That's what making plays feels like. It feels good. It feels like winning. This is Classic Talks podcast, where we subscribe to a next play mentality, one conversation at a time. I am Dr. Classic. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And this is how it's gonna kick off. This is how it's gonna kick off. That's how it's gonna kick off.
Man, get it. I love it. Update after upgrade after next thing, and then that's the next play.
It's about making plays. You hear me? What's your next play? Once you figure it out, then you figure out what's your next play. And that's what we've been doing. And these Sundays are becoming excellent.
I'm
loving it. I'm loving it. How you feeling though? How you doing?
You know what? I'm feeling light. I'm feeling light on my feet. I'm feeling, you know what? I'm feeling light on my feet, and I'm feeling like I got a lot of stuff to do. So, but things I want to do.
Right. That's how I feel. I feel good. You know what I mean? I feel light. I feel healthy. I feel well. You know what I mean? I feel great. A feeling that you would want to have. Not a feeling of, like a discomfort in your stomach. You know what I mean? A feeling of laziness. No, I feel like I got energy. I feel like I can conquer and do whatever it is that I want to do literally right now at this very moment. Like, it feels good. Like, that's where we're at. It feels
good. You do. I was telling you earlier, but let me say it for sure. Like, you look really good. Like, you look like, you feel like you just in a place. You know how somebody just look like they glowing?
Right.
Happy. You can see happy.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I can't honestly say it's anything that I really can complain about right now. You know what I mean? And that's just awesome. That's an awesome feeling, and that's what True to You is about. You know what I mean? The feeling that I have is the feeling that I want everybody to have, because you get that feeling like you don't even look at anybody and catch a moment where you might feel envy, jealousy, hate, anything. Like, I'm so happy for like everybody for whatever it is that they're doing. Every little milestone that they're making, every little step that they're taking, like, I'm there for them. Like, let's go, let's do it. We all making plays. We all getting better. So if you ain't really got that mentality, you kind of holding yourself back in life, to be honest with you, because that's the beginning of support right there. Right. Showing gratitude. You know what I mean? When you're able to look at somebody else and you see what they doing, and you like, come on now. We in here. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes people look at you and be like, you're just a great person.
Right.
Like, and that's what it's all about, being a great person,
Yeah, I'm glad that you feel that way. When you can love other people, like when you can just feel good about the work that you're doing for other people, like that's the reward in it, I think. I think that's really ultimately what we should be getting out of it, is like, how are we making connections and just, bringing each other together. Like, I get reward out of this conversation. I say every Sunday that it's just, I need to figure it out. Like, I am one of the people that want to say, listen, we doing a good thing here for people, and the reward is seeing people say things like, I'm with it. Like, I want to get involved. I want to talk about it. I want to be here. So I'm with you. You're giving me good vibrations today.
Right. And on Sundays, like that's where I be at on Sundays too. Like, man, I can't wait to get on. Let's talk. You know what
I
I'm saying?
know.
Like my mind be racing and stuff. And this week was a little different for me because usually I train on Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays. And my Tuesdays and my Sundays are just like my cardio days. Kind of
Yeah.
I do like a hit interval type of cardio on those days. And
Yeah.
I Monday woke up a little late. You know what I mean? So I wasn't able to make my training session on Monday, so I had to make up for it today. So that just kick-started Sunday for me, like at a level where I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't know if I want to tell him like, hey, let's alternate the schedule. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but I feel real good today. You know what I mean? All praises for that. Real talk.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man.
I'm making some milestones. You know, I shared some stuff with you. Like I don't know. I just don't feel like I got anything to really be down about right now. Like what's to be mad at? You know what I mean? Like it all works itself out. When
That's
you
a
just
pivot
stay
and focus. That's a pivot. So you perceive how you perceive reality. That's your truth. If you pivot on the same exact thing and just look at it from a different place, because we could complain about some things, but it just ain't really worth.
Are they worth? Come on, what? Are they worth complaining about? Like, come on now.
I feel bad complaining about the stuff that I would want to complain about.
Especially when you kind of look around at what you already doing and you just like come on, I ain't nothing to complain about. And that's where I'm at. Like, I don't really have no complaints. I got some specials coming for the holidays. From my True Sense company, I'm putting some nice little things together. I got some giveaways coming up. I got I don't know. This holiday season is really gonna be about giving. You know what I mean? I really want to give, and that's where my focus is. Like I'm ready to give more than get. You know what I'm saying? Because the getting's gonna come. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, you got this glass, two glasses inside of you. You know what I mean? This is the best way to look at it. And one is bad, one is good. You know what I'm saying? And these glasses are both filled to the top with liquid. You feel what I mean? But when you're giving all your good, your glass is getting lower. You know what I mean? So the good inside of you, that's why we have these moments where, you know what I mean, we're doing a lot for people. And then we stop and we look at ourselves and like, I feel like I'm doing so much for people and ain't nobody doing nothing for me, right? Because the good inside of you is down. But the bad is higher than the good. So you're starting to see things in a worse way. But then what happens? When something that's supposed to be there has to be at a certain level, then all of a sudden that liquid has to go back into the good. But we got to make sure we fill it to the top. So that might cause it to overflow. And that's why you get so many blessings and things that come into your life. It's like, right, you done gave so much. Now it's time to receive. You know what I mean? It's just like working. You give your time and your energy to a job to receive a paycheck. You know what I mean? You don't just walk in and they pay you before the job. No, you got to give and then you get. And that's how life works. Once you give, then you get. And you put that together with like the laws of attraction, right? You give the good, you receive the good. It's a lot to look at. People just got to open their minds up and take the time out to self-care. You know what I mean? It's self-care.
It's Self-Care Sundays. So the eulogy has been brought to you by Pastor Royal.
What? Yeah, Pastor Royal. What? I did want to talk to you today though. About some just a conversation that I think people need to hear more than anything. I wouldn't say it's it could be a self-care type of thing because then you'll start to understand what you allow into your life and how it actually can affect, you know what I'm saying, things because you're not looking at it the correct way. You know what I mean? So today I wanted to talk
pivot and focus. Okay.
You hear me? So today I wanted to go more so into titles, Titles, or tidal, Tidal. You know what I mean? When you think tidal, you think of like a tidal wave or something very destructive. You know what I'm saying? That's where it goes. You know what I mean? Something very impactful. Then when you think of title, you know what I mean? You think of a label. You know what I mean? So the way that I seen these things coming together is when you put a title on something. Okay, so this is where it started from. I have to give you the backdrop. Watching Spider-Man. And with great power comes great responsibility. Do you feel what I mean? You get power.
Language.
You get power from a title. You know what I mean? So if you tell somebody that they're the leader, they have to take on that role as a leader. You understand what you follow me?
Yeah.
So when you're not prepared correctly and you give someone or you give something a title, are you prepared for what's coming with it? You know what I mean? So that's where that's where I was flip-flopping with the labels at. Like, so is it a title or is it a title? Because if you give it a title and it earned that title, then it's that title. You know what I mean? If you have a wife or you have a husband or you have a girlfriend or you have a best friend or you have, you know what I mean, anything, any of these relationships or any of these titles, the manager or whatever in your life, when you get these titles, then there are certain things that are expected of you. And some people can't live up to the expectations of the title that they want. So their title becomes a title, Tidal, because now they're causing more destruction because they're not aligning their self with the things that they have accepted, because this is what you want. You know what I mean? So when you have like a best friend, you know what I mean? I want you to be somebody that's there for me. That's what a best friend is there. I spend a majority of my time with you. I can talk to you about anything. We just have that mutual connection that's there. But I can't call you a best friend if you're never there for me. So this is where the destruction comes in at, because now there's going to be problems between me and you, because by me giving you this title, I'm expecting these things from you and you're not living up to the expectations, but we don't see it the same. You know what I mean? So that's where communication becomes important. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're going to either have someone or something in your life that's a title or a title because you're not prepared for it. You know what I mean? Or you didn't comprehend it correctly to whoever so that they could be prepared for it. This is where marriages and relationships kind of fall apart, because once you get down and you say, do I want to, you know what I mean? I want to marry you, or will you marry me, or whatever the case may be. We have to have a mutual understanding of, as my wife, these are the things that I want you to do. Okay. You know what I mean? These are the expectations that I expect from you. It's not going to be the same with everybody. One woman can cook, another woman can't cook. So I can't expect you to cook and clean, because that's just not something that you were raised to do. You know what I mean? So once I sit there, I have to let you know what my expectations are. I need you to support me. Boom. But how do you want your support? I want you to comfort me, but how do you want your comfort? I need you to be there for me, but how? I want you to love me, but how? Because the way I might see loving you may not be the way that you see being loved. Okay. Communication is key.
Let me take a swing at it. So, and this really has been aligning with stuff I've been talking about all week. So Sunday always align and start my week off strong. And now I come out with a clear self-care Sunday. So listen, titles, I'll take it. Let me slow down. When you make goals, right? When you're trying to make goals, you're working towards them, right? People apply for jobs because they're qualified, but the job itself, they're going to have to grow into it. When we give the job to somebody, we're looking for somebody who's already at the place that they're looking to arrive at. So we have to be open to making sure when we are saying we're given a title, there is no second intention. And if we don't let somebody grow into what they're trying to do, they're never going to meet that goal. They're never going to meet the expectation. They're going to trip every time because they're starting behind. You want them to start at the finish line. So I had to learn that going into a relationship. So even about myself, because people are not going to be where you are. And people needs to be an okay thing. Because when you accept somebody, like when you're giving somebody a title, you also saying like, I know who you are and I'm positioning you. So you're already accepting that they have these shortcomings, right? But you're asking them to grow out of them. You can't do like the double-edged sword where they got to already be where you want them to be because you're giving them the title now. And some things have to be reflective. Like, it's really good to tell somebody, like, I need you to change, but you got to show them the change you're looking for. Like, you got to be willing to make that change. So I think
itself. Oh my God.
It do. So for me, it was like, I can't control the outcomes. What I can do is I can do my part and then you get to do yours, and hopefully we start to match along the way. And you're right, communication is key. I feel like I'm in a really awesome position because we can talk about everything. And even if it's something that you don't feel good, even if it's something that you don't feel good about, they are receiving it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still need to tell you because I need you to know. So you're right, communication is key, but we got to be really, really key to not trip somebody up and give them a bar they're never going to be able to meet when we think about titles. And you already expecting the title, TIDAL. So that's what's going to come anyways.
Right. And
don't give out the title when you already waiting on the title.
Right. And that all just surfaces with setting the foundation. You know what I mean? Like, you don't build a house from the top down. You know what I'm saying? You build it from the bottom up. The foundation has to be the strongest part, because what does the foundation do? The foundation supports anything that might go wrong above. The house will still stand if the roof collapses. You feel what I mean? And that's how you have to look at stuff that you go into. You know what I mean? You always have to set the foundation for what you are going to be able to support. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this then. One thing that I've found with relationships where people feel they have good communication, they can talk about it in a good place. If we're in a good place, we can talk about it. But people don't like to talk about feelings when they are offended. So if I am the offended one, so you offended me, you didn't, support me like I wanted you to. You didn't love me like I wanted you to. You offended me with how that happened. Instead of me saying I'm offended, I have to send it back I have to send it back in a way that they feel and understand and get. It's almost like we get in those petty levels. That's what I hear you saying when it's like that title thing, or they trying to meet the title. You're going to automatically say, when they don't meet it, you're not going to just tell them like, hey, that hurts me. Hey, I'm not okay with that. We have to be okay with doing that. Or if not, it's going to come out like anger. Or, I'm cutting you off. Don't text me no more. Leave you on red. Like, it come out like that.
And that's the TIDL, because when
if you work with that title,
right? If you actually step into your TITLE, then you would understand that we have to communicate about this, because this is the only way that we get better. You know what I mean? When you enter into a relationship, you really have to look at stuff in a we form. You know what I mean? How does this affect we, not me? You know what I mean?
And let me give you another level. Think about it like this. When you think leadership principles, don't forget that you got a title. So if you keep stooping down to the point where you setting people up to fail, and you being unrealistic with your conversation, and you can't be vulnerable, you got to remember you got a title. So there are people, just because you you the lead, you the head, don't mean that you don't have responsibilities, and you got to meet them too, because we can't give expectations that we can't meet.
Yours are more important
to me. Like, I got
in that role, your expectations and things are more important than what you're expecting from the next person.
Than what you're expecting.
Because what the other person is doing is learning from you.
That's a personal choice. Because some people don't hold themselves to the expectations that they're holding somebody else.
And that's why
we have titles.
When I deal with a lot of my clients, I always tell them that, like, we're gonna start with accountability. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's where it begins. You have to hold yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying? You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm failing because I'm choosing to fail. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on you. Or whatever it is that you're doing, you know what I mean? You can't fault everybody around you. You have to reflect on yourself first. Okay, wait. Am I doing what I'm supposed to do for them to even understand what I want them to do? Or do you want them to do it just to kickstart you? Because that never works.
But that's the definition of change. You start it, and then let them see you. It's almost like, we're both in education. When we are disciplining students, and when I mean by discipline, nothing physical, of course, but when we are really disciplining students because of behavioral reasons, we have to tell them who they are to get them to change. We can't me personally, I don't go in to discipline a student in a way that I'm being negative and reprimanding what the decision was. We got to talk about how we make the next decision. And I got to tell them who they really are so that they understand that they're failing themselves. Like, it's one of those things where I don't know why we always think we're going to get responses by destruction. Sometimes, and most times, we don't need destruction. We just need to come to an agreement. That's what we need.
I can't quote it verbatim, but in the book, the good book, you know what I'm talking about, the greatest book. You hear me? The storytelling book. When you open it up and you read it, because this is actually a learning experience. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is some of us go through similar journeys.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when you go through a similar journey and you can kind of relate, or you know what I mean, or relate yourself to someone's journey, then you can kind of see how they overcame and how they, you know what I mean? So that's why that book to me is a great book, because you will find a story in there that aligns with how your life is. And it always ends with something great. Or you can take the parable out of it and understand how to fix a situation or whatever the case may be. And that is what's stated in that book. I can't quote it verbatim right now, and I really wish I had it right here in front of me or whatever. But that's what it says. Like, it's like you meet them with anger, and that's what you're going to get back. You set the level. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want somebody to do something and I come at them aggressively with it, like, hey, I want you to, it's going to be like, bro, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the famous one when somebody's screaming at you and you tell them, stop screaming, but you screaming.
Or in class. Like, simple stuff in class. Hey, y'all shut up. Shut up. Now everybody loud. Now ain't nobody shutting up. Lead by example. Just shut up.
That's what it's called, verbatim.
Gonna look over like, damn, you ain't even talking.
Right. That's what it's called, verbatim.
What's that?
You said it's called verbatim.
What?
Never mind. I thought you was telling me the title or something. Okay, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
It sounds like now it's gonna be a title. This might be called verbatim. You get what you get. You get what you get. You get what you gonna get by what you're giving.
Right, and that's true though. That's real life. Like, people don't understand that. You only receive what it is that you're given in a relationship.
What you
and
put
life
in
general, and right? If you put in hard work in life, like you set a schedule and you stick to it, and
I believe that, man. I believe
you're gonna start to, you know what I mean. You're gonna get things in return. But if you sit around and do nothing all day, you can't expect anything and be mad because you don't have anything.
That's why, listen, I've been saying lately, I do not believe in luck. I believe in energy. All of the energy, man, that you put into something. You're going to get that back, man. I feel I'm confident just even from where we are. Do you remember way back when I'm like, I've been posting like Classic Talks podcast. I was just posting.
Yep.
I was just posting. You hear me like, man, I can't wait to hear it. You jumped on and started posting episodes before. I'm just still like, man, I'm just thinking from that spot to right now, it's just energy. It's just touching this every day. I said in one of my Classic Talks Fridays, get involved in the Friday session. We have a good drink and we sit down and we just talk about stuff that's worth talking about. But in one of those talks, I mentioned, man, that we have to touch what we're passionate about, what we're working on, what we're looking forward to. We got to touch it every day. And we talked about it before we got online. You have to touch it every day because you want to. You feel good about it. It's something you want to do. Like, I get up and I want to do this. I like my Sunday. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll over on Sunday because I ain't got to get up early. I'm going to go to church. You know, well, early for me is like I'm up by like 7, 8 because you can't sleep late. Like, that's it. So 4. I'm with you. I can't sleep late. That's my sleep in. It's like 8.
Oh, right.
I can't. Your body be like, how you gonna go now to not 10 o'clock? I be wishing, but I don't. Right. So I get church in, and then I hit you with the text right before I start church. Hit you with the text like we on 8:11.
Mm-hmm.
I get ready,
and it puts your mind and your body already know. Like, it comes habit for your body now. Like, you got to get this done. Everything else to start to fall in line, and the time opens up for it. Like, everything. Like, I know. You know how you had me go watch The Social Dilemma?
Yes.
I got something I want you to go watch.
All right. You know, I got my pen in my pen.
On Netflix. It's called
Netflix account.
It's called It's called The Secret.
Okay.
Check that out. It goes hand in hand with what you were just kind of talking about. Like, I don't believe in luck. I believe in energy. And yes, I want you to check that out, and we can talk about that
So
next.
let me do you one better. I needed something to watch while I was getting ready to type my paper.
Oh.
So I'm gonna put it on right now. I'm gonna look up and nothing gonna be typed on my paper, but I'm gonna get it done.
We got the same thing because I gotta do the same thing when I'm done with this. I gotta attack some school work.
Yep.
But when you were talking about energy, it put me right back into the mindset of that, because what was mentioned in there, and you'll see it when you watch it, is every thought and idea that we have. You know what I mean? It sends out a frequency. You know what I'm saying? So like you gotta think about like Aquaman, and when he's under the water and he wants to call the animals, you know what I mean? He kind of sends a signal up of his head that lets them know that I need help. You know what I'm saying? Or I need your assistance. And that's kind of what we do. Everything that we want and everything that we desire in life, you know what I mean? We constantly think about this. You're sending that frequency out into the universe to understand what it is that you want. And then you start to put the action behind it. So now you're putting the energy aligned with that frequency out into the universe. So then the universe responds to you by giving you a little taste of it. So then once you start to get a little taste of it, what happens? Now you're going to turn your energy up. Let me give it a little bit more. Let me put a little bit more into this. Let me put a little bit more thought into it. And next thing you know, you'll just start to see things appear before your eyes. You know what I mean? We never notice where we are until we actually pay attention to where we are. You know what I mean? In my mind, I'm like, there's so much stuff that I still got to do, and so much stuff that I still need to do. But then when I get people that come over to sit down and talk and do sessions with me and things like that, they're kind of looking around like, wow, like, you got this, that. And it's like, to me, I appreciate it, but I'm not done yet. And I want everybody to kind of get into that mindset of never being satisfied. We become satisfied with too much. You know what I mean? Even when we're dealing with like our partners and things like that, they do something good or they're at a nice plateau, we become satisfied with it. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if you just want to push somebody to be better, you let them know, okay, we here. We're going to celebrate this for like a week. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? As a human being, let's be realistic. Let's celebrate this for like a week. Let's bask in this for like a week. But then once we get done doing that, now I'm looking at you like, what's the next thing?
You know, one thing I will say is I wonder if we can be better at being okay when people are who they are. Like, we have to allow people to be who we are. And some people are going to disappoint. You're going to disappoint some people. So sometimes I rack my brain on like trying to get somebody to change and be different and move forward from my perception of what they should be doing. Because it's my perception of it. They can be thinking something different. And usually if I'm working that hard, they are thinking something different. But like, how much sooner can we just be okay with the fact that people are going to give you who they're going to be? Like, some people haven't fell into their routine. Some people haven't figured out what they love to do. And if they are not just mirroring your energy, like you feel like you're giving off, like how long do you let it go? Like, I think that I've wasted some time because people are going to be who they're going to be. I've wasted some time trying to get them to look at life a little differently. I've dealt with some very narrow-minded people that weren't ready to open the gap. And that had to be okay with me. Like, and that's where I think people get stuck. That part is not okay with them.
So this is where the self thing happens, because I believe that with self, you know what I mean, with dealing with yourself, once you create the actual change within yourself, then you'll start to see change in other people. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I see in myself. As I get better, you know what I mean, as I get healthier, as I get wiser, you know what I mean, these steps that I'm taking, it only makes me see people in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Some good, some bad. Because as a human being, we're stuck on, we always criticize. We criticize everything. Take a bite of food. How does it taste? Is it too much salt? Is it, you know what I mean? We're judgmental and criticizing of everything. It's just in our nature. So it's hard to get away from it. But it's about the expression. So if you're not happy about the change that's with somebody else, that's for you to see within yourself. And then you might have to just shy away from them or change how you deal with them. That way you don't reflect that energy of negativity off on them or yourself, because then that does nothing for neither one of y'all. But then this person will start to understand. Now it's not the change that you're looking for from them. Now it's more about understanding. Now do you understand why I'm moving the way that I move?
let me say this too. I had to really myself had to see people as capable. When
Say it one
you
more
don't,
time.
I had to see people as capable.
Okay.
Like, you know how you walk into a situation, and if I already have my preconceived thoughts about who you are, those are the lenses that I'm making my decisions and my judgments off of when we're dealing with each other, right? My decisions, my choices, how I move with you, if it's preconceived. From now on, as long as I can do it, unless we've already had bad blood and I've been able to provide closure to say we're moving forward, let me look at you differently. I have to see people as capable. I have to see people as when they step in front of me, I got to see you as whatever it is that you and I are spending time on, because that's the value. You and I are spending that time on, that you are going to get it done. Like, I see you, Terrence, as capable. And when I say we're going to record every Sunday, this is what we're doing. We can announce it to people who following us, listening to us. We send it out in the family, getting people involved. I want to make sure we have content for them. So I see you as capable. Now, if I see you as when we was growing up, like, remember Terrence used to not come over when he said on Sundays, he probably ain't gonna come through. Like, I can't see you like that, because guess what you're gonna give me if I don't send a text, if I'm like, what's up? If I'm not mirroring the energy I want to see come out of it, and I don't see you as capable with destruction, that title that's coming through, man.
And
That might be the title.
and us understanding that portion now. Well, I speak for myself. Understanding that portion now, I understand how that hindered me so much in my past, because I always would hang that over people or things, and that would stop me from going places. That would stop me from meeting people. You know what I mean? You might be a bad person when it comes to doing such and such and such and such, but what it is that I want to meet and talk about and handle and do, you're on point with that. But because I'm looking at you for everything else, the title, now I'm not understanding what I can really gain from it, the value out of it. So you hit that right on the money, because that's a fact. Start looking at things as capable, because when you get there, if you're handling what you're supposed to handle while you're there, that's the part that matters. What don't matter about nothing else should matter at that moment.
I hear so many people, use that defeating tongue. Man, you got to start talking life into yourself. Like, man, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm exactly where God has positioned me to be. What do I got to find right here so I can move?
Come on now. And I know what you mean by that good frustration, because people be thinking I be just like losing it. And it's like, no, I'm not losing it. It's just, I know I got to work with these people today, and I got to turn around and do this in the morning, and I still need to go do this, and then home-wise, I need to do this and do that and do that. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to balance all this out, because I still need to do this. Like, it's good frustration. It's frustration that you want. Because once you conquer that frustration, then you fall into a day like Sunday, which is Self-Care Sunday, and that's what it's all about. You know, conquered all these challenges throughout the week, because nothing ever goes as planned.
Yep.
And that's why I don't like planning. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna plan something like a Self-Care Sunday meeting like this. But don't plan out what it is, how we gonna look, where we gonna position, how we gonna sit, what we gonna do. Well, no, you do your thing and I do my thing, and we just gonna bring it together and we gonna make it a thing. And look how it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't tell each other what it is that I need you to change. Hey, that picture in the back, I don't like the drum just a little bit too. Who cares? That's not, you know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying the moment. Like, that's what you need to do. Embrace and enjoy the moment and what you're getting from it. Because that's the lesson. If you don't take something from something that you're doing, then don't do it no more.
So I feel like this is like the recipe for how friendships work. Like real friendships, when you really come together and when y'all get together, y'all can talk about things. Y'all can let people know when your heart is heavy, but at the same time, y'all can build things together. Like, oh yeah, I learned this, or I'm getting this, and where I'm supposed to put this, and can you see the back? Like, I don't want to trip you up. Like, okay, Terrence gonna be looking like he's sitting in his living room.
Right.
Like I want to get with you. Gonna tell me like, no, that music sound is like 19 static chords going through your intro. It ain't gonna work out. Like, it's okay to just get together and learn and grow and have fun. And when you having a bad day, like, man, let me just check on you, make sure things are smooth. Like, we just have to grow better relationships overall.
Yeah, I learned that
to grow better relationships
from
overall.
This Advantage of Happiness book that I got, that I was reading. It's a self-care book, and that's what it was with me. Like, I'm a person, I used to anticipate a lot of stuff. Like, no, I'm not going there. You know what I'm saying? This happened, that happened. Nope, that's just not for me. no, I'm good. I'm not moving this area, that area. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? But what that book taught me was you never know, you know what I'm saying, what's going to happen. So what you do is you find the good out of whatever situation you're going to. You feel what I'm saying? So like, that's how I look at things now. Like wherever I'm going, before I get there, it's like, okay, so even if everything is trash and it's suck and it's boring, what can I do for myself to make it that I didn't waste my time?
And let me tell you, so back to the tongue almost, but don't talk a certain behavior or characteristic over yourself with that anxiousness stuff. Like you and I felt like I suffered from anxiety. Like I was always so super anxious, and things that I really wanted to get out and say, I was like, I felt like I was almost like crumbling inside. But we park anxiousness to the left, and it's almost like something like, oh yeah, I'm always anxious, or that's just my anxiety. Like we learn how to work through it. We gotta directly hit that head on. Let's bring that little pathway that we don't touch, that we put to the side. Let's bring it to the front. Like, I'm not an anxious person. I'm going to say it like that. Like, I need to address anxiousness ain't just what I am or anxiety. Like, now I breathe a little differently, but it's because I got to hit it dead on. Like, it can't be like, oh, I'm just a procrastinator. Oh, I'm just anxious. Like, when you give yourself that lens and then you try and put another lens on top of that, you are saying you are validating that can be okay. Like, it's not okay for me to want to feel this way all the time. I can't just say that's me. So I got to make sure that when we talk about like self-care is addressing things you don't like about yourself, or you don't like how it makes you feel. You don't like how it positions you, and you address those things head on. Don't just let them be who you are. That's not who you are. Like, that's something that happens. And if you can address it, if you can put it on the table, you can get rid of some of that stuff. And I'm happy to say that I'm way less anxious than I was 2 years ago. Like, I can get into a conversation and, man, my stomach ain't in knots, and because I know what I'm doing, so why am I so anxious? I'm thinking about what could happen on the other end of this conversation. Let me have the conversation. Let me just sit in and flow and be in the moment.
And see what happened. Exactly. And that's how I go about a lot of places I go to and everything. Like, I was a person that would, even like when I first started doing this, you know what I mean? My business and everything. It's like, ain't nobody gonna accept this, whatever. Ain't nobody gonna think about this. Ain't nobody care about this. Ain't nobody woo. But then like 2 years later, now it's like, hey, true to you everywhere. Tea time everywhere. Like, people like see me and they just know automatically, like, oh yeah, bro, what's up? I'll be seeing your stuff on. And it's like, dang, you know what I mean? What I once thought would be a failure is my biggest success.
Nice.
Like, that's what's happening.
We on points. Listen, how do you self-care? I take care of self. You gotta be on that list. And don't get me wrong, I spend a lot of time taking care of other people, listening to other people, making sure I'm just there for other people. I invest in people. I think that's where the results are. So when that happens, I can stop and say, I'm gonna pump in for myself. I'm gonna read, because reading is that fuels me. I'm gonna write, that fuels me. I'm going to like meditate. That fuels me. Like, taking care of myself where I can get to a place of peace, that fuels me. And I can use that peace and hopefully that overflow you talked about earlier and bless somebody else.
I like how you brought reading up, because when you were a kid, they taught us that reading was fundamental.
It's the realest thing they ever taught us.
But then one thing that I've learned is how to literally break down the English language for better understanding. And think about that word. Reading is fundamental. But I'm also, I do my rap thing too. So you break stuff down, and it's fund the mental. Reading fund the mental. So when you're reading, that's your gain for here. And that's how you can understand how to do more things. But if you're not putting any gain or any funds into the mental, you put funds into everything else that you want to get something out of it. If you want a shirt, you go buy it. So you fund, you know what I mean? So fund your mental. Pick up something, watch something. It's reading. Reading is fundamental. And I learned that since I really picked up books and started reading. My library collection has grown amazingly. And then on top of that, like it just put me in such a better place in life.
I just know based off of how they don't want you to be educated and read. And what I mean by they, let me quit saying that. I just know when we got on the shores, for them to learn to read was punishable by death. There is something powerful in having knowledge. And don't get me wrong and say that you have to have an education. Like, I don't think that people need to go all the way to school and get a doctorate. I did that. That's what I needed and wanted to do. But I do think that there is power in knowledge. And the way that we're going to get knowledge is that we're able to read it somehow. Now the world is set up where we don't even have to read it ourselves. You can listen to an audiobook, but get the knowledge that comes out of that so you can make decisions and choices and understandings for yourself as you're on your journey. Like, that's something, it's power in the words.
And that's why, that's why I would say that it's important to read it versus listening to it, because
much better.
Your ears and eyes work. Yeah, they work two different ways. You know what I'm saying? So when you're listening, your eyes can easily distract you. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening. No, I hear you. Just think about when you're listening to a person. You only take in about 75% of what they actually said. You know what I mean? And then you might have to be like, and what was that one part you said when you was like, you know what I'm saying? So when you're listening to an audio book, it's so hard to get it unless you headphone and listening. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're locking into what you're listening to. You know what I'm saying? Like if you putting yourself in a room and you putting headphones on and you actually sitting there and you taking it in, but what person actually really is comfortable with doing that? There's people that do that. It's just something that doesn't work for me, but I just feel like it's important to read the words, you know?
I'm with you. I'm saying it's people like, listen, there's no excuse why you can't get the words.
Right. Let me get that audience call.
Yeah.
They got enough of this one for.
I'm talking to a big audience, man. I'm talking to a capable audience. I feel that we're having an excellent conversation that we just want people to have. We want people to have this kind of conversation, and we're looking for an audience that feels like they're capable. We're looking for an audience that understands that they have titles that they create and titles that they have expectations for, but it's really going to work on how you internalize what you need to do first. Like, we have to have an audience that's willing to hold that mirror up. So we're looking for people who are willing to see the process through. You owe it to yourself to see what's on the other end of all your creativity, all of your work, all of your effort, and really all of your self-care. This is Self-Care Sundays, and we're looking for people to tell us how they show self-care. And